In a world full of podcasts, one podcast has one episode to give you 1 week of movie news. This is the Weekly Reel. Welcome to the Weekly Reel for the week ending Friday, July 18th. First up, we're going to talk about Superman. Over the weekend, it leapt to a $125 million domestic box office debut, which is the third highest opening in 2025. And a $95 million overseas debut, bringing its worldwide debut gross total to $220 million. Variety had this to say about it, quote, "Turnout was slightly softer than expected at the international box office, with $95 million from 78 markets, bringing its global tally to $220 million. Box office watchers say they aren't surprised that Superman started stronger in the U.S. compared to overseas because the character, whose motto is truth, justice, and the American way, is the quintessential star-spangled hero. This is an outstanding domestic opening. If there's any softness here, it's overseas," says David A. Gross, who runs the Franchise Re movie consulting firm. Superman has always been identified as an American character, and in some parts of the world, America is currently not enjoying its greatest popularity. We saw it here at the Weekly Reel and loved it. It's a big, bold, bright blast, thrusting us into a retro-futuristic version of Metropolis, where we hop on the wild ride already in progress, complete with monsters, metahumans, and mayhem. Core Sweat brings a perfect Boy Scout earnestness to Superman and Clark. Bragason is pitch perfect as Lois, and Holt is a diabolical and cunning Machiavellian master, totally eating up the screen and looming large in every scene. Definitely see this one in IMAX. For this upcoming weekend, it's facing little competition at the box office with the looming releases of Eddington, the I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot, remake, rebake, I'm not sure what it is, and also Smurfs, but more on those in the early buzz segment. But spoiler alert, none of those have really reviewed super well. So Variety is predicting for this upcoming weekend 55 to 62 million in the second weekend of Superman's release. In related news, we got our first poster for Supergirl, which we'll throw up on the screen here. But also due to the success of Superman, Variety reports that WB is now looking to fast-track their rebooted version of Wonder Woman as well. Personally, my pick for the character is Adria Arjona. She has the right look, she can handle the physicality, and she's just a fantastic actress, as seen in Andor, Hitman, and the recently released Splitsville. James Gunn happens to agree, saying this recently in an interview with Extra.
You know, you touched on social media and people on social media, and social media plays a big part in this film as well. And a lot of us are pretty hawk-eyed on people who you follow. So the moment you follow someone on Instagram, we go, is that Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
How much should we read into, if you follow a popular female actress, what are their chances that person might be Wonder Woman?
50%, no.
That sounded much better than I thought it was going to be.
No. Like Adria, I followed Adria, Arjona on Instagram, but everybody came out. He just followed her. That means she's Wonder Woman. She'd be a great Wonder Woman, by the way. But she was in a movie that I made, 7 years ago. We've been friends and have known each other since that time. So I followed her then. I didn't just follow her. People just notice these things all the time.
James Gunn confirms Adria as Wonder Woman.
Next up, we got some news about the Legend of Zelda live-action movie. Nintendo legend Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Donkey Kong, Mario, and Zelda, took to X on Wednesday to announce Zelda will be played by Bo Bragason and Link by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. Bragason's credits include the 2024 horror comedy The Radleys, the Disney drama Renegade Neil, and the 2021 horror flick Censor. Ainsworth starred as Pinocchio in 2022's ill-fated Disney's live-action remake, 2020's acclaimed Netflix TV series The Haunting of Bly Manor, and the 2021 Disney Plus movie Flora and Ulysses. So the casting looks spot on, with unknown actors have shown great promise in their still growing filmography. The internet were losing their mind after gaslighting themselves into believing some other actors were being looked at, but really that was just all clickbait, just meant to stir up people. Wes Ball is directing, whose previous credits include 2024's excellent Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and the entire Maze Runner trilogy. I think Ball is a solid choice, coming off a career best in that Planet of the Apes movie. Legend of Zelda is in partnership with Nintendo and Sony, and it's scheduled to be released in theaters next May 2027. In Nintendo-related news, we got hints about a standalone animated Donkey Kong movie. According to Collider, quote, in May 2025, Nintendo and Universal Pictures filed for copyright registration for an untitled Donkey Kong project at the U.S. Copyright Office, and it was described in that registration as being a motion picture. Along with the new Donkey Kong Bonanza game getting 10 out of 10 reviews, Donkey Kong fans are eating good in the jungle neighborhood. Next, we're going to talk about Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. So as we eagerly await for more news to trickle out about his upcoming Odyssey epic, we're taking what small drops of info we can. We got a shot of Matt Damon in full costume waving to the camera as he takes a break from filming in Scotland, which other shooting locations include Greece, Iceland, Italy, Morocco, and the good old US of A. You know, I just like to think he's just voyaging around the world in full costume like one of those traveling gnomes and just taking pictures in the various locations. Until the teaser reel pops up online in its non-bootleg form, this is all we're getting for this week. Now, in an unusual bit of news about the movie, we also learned that this Thursday, pre-sales went live for some 70mm IMAX screens at Harkins and Cinemark. That's an entire year in advance from when the film opens on July 17th, 2026. Odyssey is still actively in production. We've only got that slight teaser of footage, and even that was kind of unusual a year in advance. So now how or why they decided to start pre-sales so early in advance is unknown, but clearly Universal feels like this is going to be a huge event you're going to want to plan on your calendar for a year out like it's a Beyonce concert. Given that Nolan is his own brand now, and Oppenheimer, which is a talky biopic about the lead up to the creation of the first atomic bomb, brought in $1 billion, the confidence to pull a move like this is actually completely understandable. Hopefully you were able to secure some pre-order tickets yourself. So we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about a TV show that's eagerly anticipated, the Harry Potter TV show. This week we got the first costumed images of Dominique McLaughlin as Harry Potter and Nick Frost as Hagrid. Hagrid. Not sure how that gets pronounced. Sorry, I'm not a pothead. I never watched the original Harry Potter movies aside from Alfonso Cuarón's excellent Prisoner of Azkaban, nor have I read the books, but Harry Potter is a pretty iconic character, so I'm familiar with how he should look. And I don't know, I think he looks fine. The internet is being predictably cruel about the kid's appearance already. And for his own sake, I hope to God he doesn't have social media. Like, he's just a kid, for crying out loud. Let him be, leave him alone. There was also criticism for Nick Frost's appearance as Hagrid, however you say it. And that's a little bit more understandable. Many people were commenting that he looks like he's cosplaying as the character from the movies, and I mean, cosplaying means costume playing, and yeah, he's definitely in a costume. Ultimately, I think HBO, the cast and crew are really in a no-win situation with this. If they maintain a faithfulness to the existing iconography, and even if they nail it 100%, they still just open themselves up to criticism for being an imitation. If they go in a different direction, then fans are pissed at any deviation. I mean, the first movie is almost 25 years old at this point, which was still 4 years before Christian Bale took over as Batman, so that meant George Clooney would have still been the last Batman at that point. There's been 4 different Batmen since the first Harry Potter movie. Hell, Daniel Radcliffe is a few years out from turning 40. A new Harry Potter movie, TV show, interpretation, and a whole new cast. It's fine. Succession alums Francesca Gardner and Mark Mylod are serving as showrunners, producers, and the latter serving as a director on several episodes, with the new Harry Potter TV show coming to HBO in 2027. Now we're going to hit some quick tidbits about some movies that are in pre-production or starting to cast, and first up is Tough Guys. So we got word from Deadline this week that a new action comedy titled Tough Guys is in the works. That'll be starring Ryan Gosling and Will Ferrell. They had this to say about it, quote, originating as a spec from writer Daniel Gold, the story follows 2 henchmen who are tired of being disposable and break free from the criminal underworld, rewriting the rules as they build a new life on their own terms. Daniel Gold is best known for his work on the Netflix CBC comedy series Working Moms. No word on a director yet for Tough Guys. Gosling has Project Hail Mary out next year, and Will Ferrell really hasn't been a lead in a movie since 2022 Apple TV's Spirited, which co-starred the other Ryan. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about casting news, and first up is Werewolf. Nexus Point News reported this week that Aaron Taylor Johnson and Lily Rose Depp are reuniting with filmmaker Robert Eggers after their last successful collab in Nosferatu for his upcoming film Werewolf. They go on to say, quote, Werewolf is described as a werewolf horror film set in 13th century England and is set to feature Old English dialogue. The film was first announced in January 2025, following the release of Eggers' last film, Nosferatu. Eggers has co-written the film with frequent collaborator Schoen and will be producing it alongside Schoen. Focus Features is set to distribute the film. Sources have told Nexus Point News that Taylor Johnson is set to play the titular werewolf, with Depp set to portray his wife. The script reportedly features elements of witchcraft and is described as one of Eggers' goriest projects to date. Production is expected to begin this September. Werewolf is set to be released by Focus Features on December 25th, 2026, in time for a Merry Christmas. Next, we got a little bit more casting news for Street Fighter. Deadline reported that legendary Street Fighter movie has cast Vidya Jamal as Dalsim. Quote, Indian actor Vidya Jamal has landed the role of Dalsim in Legendary's live-action Street Fighter movie based on the video games from Capcom, sources tell Deadline. The project marks the debut of an actor who we're told has been deliberate about the project with which he wants to introduce himself into the U.S. market. First introduced in Street Fighter II in 1991, the character of Dalsim is a yogi with fire-spitting abilities, a fundamentally peaceful man who fights to support his family. Yoga Flame. Still no word on who's playing Zangief, but Street Fighter will release sometime in 2026. Finally, this week in our sub-segment of casting news, Deadline reported this week that J.B. Tadina will be joining the cast of David Fincher's The Adventures of Cliff Booth, saying this, quote, reps for Netflix declined to comment, while we're told that Tadina will be sharing the screen with lead Brad Pitt, who reprises his role as stuntman Cliff Booth. Character details are under wraps, as is the film's plot. As previously expected, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Elizabeth Debicki, Scott Kahn, and Carla Gugino are also expected to feature in the cast, with Fincher working from a script by Tarantino that sees Booth turn Hollywood fixer. Production is expected to begin later this year. All right, next up, we're going to get into early buzz. And first, we're going to talk through Eddington, the Ari Aster directed film starring Pedro Pascal and Joaquin Phoenix, covering our divided country with the pandemic as a backdrop, has gotten its reviews up on Rotten Tomatoes, sitting at a 67%. The consensus is Eddington carries a stellar cast, fearless direction by Ari Aster, and an off-kilter story, but its tonal misdirection will often leave viewers wanting. Michael Phillips from the Chicago Tribune had this to say, quote, Eddington is probably Aster's strongest film visually, with cinematographer Darius Khondji creating the light and shadow for some sweeping, gently ironic evocations of Old West and Old Hollywood myth-making. Patrick McDonald from HollywoodChicago.com was also positive on it, saying, Ari Aster is the horror artist, but there is no supernatural here, only the horror of humans versus humans. A stark realization of how we got to where we are, with the divide based on mistrust and misinformation wrapped in a ball gag of self-doubt. America. And then finally, Elliot Collins from Movie Files was a little bit less hot on it, saying, quote, I can appreciate in small part the acceptance that reflecting reality can be a source of incredible horror, but I resented feeling like a mosquito was buzzing in my ear for 2.5 hours without ever biting. Next, we got early reviews for I Know What You Did Last Summer, also opening this weekend. The half-sequel, half-reboot landed with a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. The consensus is that it's faithfully hearkening back to the original for better or worse. This I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot apparently serves up plenty of nostalgia, but without finding a compelling hook of its own. Megan Navarro from Bloody Disgusting had this to say about it, quote, the higher body count and new cast of genuinely likable characters help introduce this legacy sequel to new audiences, but it's really one that's best suited and tailor-made for the die-hard I Know What You Did Last Summer fan. Edward Douglas from The Weekend Warrior also had some faint praise for it, saying, quote, like a cross between Scream and Scooby-Doo, this seems like a slasher that might work better for young people who have never seen the original movie. And then finally, Bilge Eberi, hopefully I'm saying that right, from New York Magazine Vulture said, quote, not scary enough to thrill, funny enough to charm, or clever enough to convince. I Know What You Did Last Summer isn't just forgettable, it's actively irritating. Wow. Okay, and then finally in early buzz, the next movie opening this weekend is Smurfs. That landed with a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes, with the consensus just being that it's pretty bad. Even the positive reviews are really just damning it with faint praise. Zaki Hassan from San Francisco Chronicle had this to say, quote, "A brand refreshed aimed squarely at Gen Alpha and their Spotify and loving parents. On that front, it largely succeeds. It's fun, chaotic, and occasionally touching." Meanwhile, Neil Minow from RogerEbert.com said, quote, "There's plenty to satisfy the longtime fans, including the usual cuddly themes and various replacements of words with Smurf." And finally, Carla Hay from Culture Mix slapped it around a little bit, saying, quote, "Even by the simplest of standards for animated films, Smurfs is a subpar mess of idiotic dialogue, hyperbanality, and unimaginative plot developments that copy superhero movies. Most of the supporting characters here have no real purpose but to take up space." All right, next up, we're going to check out the new Red Band trailer for Mortal Kombat 2 that dropped today. Wasn't really a huge fan of the first one. It did some things well. It needed room for improvement on a couple things. So, yeah, let's take a look at the sequel trailer and see how that's shaping up. So we're going to start that right now. Carl Urban as Johnny Cage.
You're Johnny Cage. I loved Citizen Cage when I was a kid.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
They should do a reboot.
Nobody wants that.
It's kind of given Hugh Jackman as Wolverine vibes.
Johnny Cage, you have been chosen to fight. Tell me you're not some crazy fan.
So that's another actor from Shogun already.
How are you doing that?
Already the actor playing Scorpion is from Shogun. So we got now 2 actors from the Shogun TV show in this.
Where the hell am I?
It's called Mortal Kombat. It's a fighting tournament. To the death.
Yeah, well, they got more fighting this time.
Fuck that.
They got the memo from fans around that.
This is a war for the fate of your world.
One of the highlights from the first movie is Kano. He's back.
I don't have transformer arms or shoot lightning bolts. This shit's got nothing to do with me. I'm an actor.
All right.
I find you annoying. Not the face.
Yeah, CGI is a little rough. Is that supposed to be Jade? That's the bald chick from The Last of Us. All right. Shao Kahn looks badass.
Big ugly fuck.
Liu Kang there in the background. Oh. Holy shit. Oh my god. Dude. Brutal. Yeah.
Are you shitting me? You don't have any pounds? Just incredibly handsome.
Alright. Yeah. Alright. That looks pretty cool. Also looks pretty dumb, which is right in line for what a movie like that should be. It seems like they heard a lot of feedback for the first movie, and they've, improved a few things. They brought in Johnny Cage for one. There's a lot more fighting sequences, which is definitely what they need in a movie named Mortal Kombat. Some of the CGI looks kind of shoddy, but it is an early trailer, so maybe there's still time to work on some of that. But yeah, that's the first trailer for Mortal Kombat 2. All right, next up we got the trailer for Tron Ares, the third in the series of Tron movies. Take a look at that.
Since time began, man has gazed at the stars and he has wondered, am I alone?
This soundtrack goes hard already. I like it.
Talk of AI and big tech today. Virtual worlds, what are they going to look like when we get there?
Don't recognize the voiceover.
Well, folks, We're not going.
Ah, okay. Evan Peters, Quicksilver. Ah, yeah.
Ares.
Fucking Jared Leto. How that guy still has a career, I don't understand.
Lightning fast. Supremely intelligent. And if he is struck down on the battlefield,
I almost feel like he wrote that description of him himself.
I will simply make you another.
Yeah, this soundtrack goes hard. Previous movie, Tron Legacy, had Daft Punk that did the soundtrack. So I don't know who's doing the one this time, but definitely hits hard. I don't even know what these movies are about anymore, I just realized. Like, I guess I gotta go back, rewatch Tron Legacy. Oh, this has gotta be Trent Reznor. Yeah. It's definitely Trent Reznor's voice. Alright. Yeah, you gotta have Jeff Bridges back, so that's good.
I feel it. Fascinating.
Damn. Alright. Yeah, oh yeah, there it is, 9 Inch Nails. Yeah, it looks like one to take mushrooms and go and see. Visually, it looks crazy, and you got a soundtrack by 9 Inch Nails. Not really sure about Jared Leto being in there. I haven't been a fan of his for a while, and you know, he's got all that other stuff going on too. I'm surprised he's even still in this, but yeah, that looks rad. Looks like a good follow-up to the previous movies. Very visually and auditorily entertaining. All right, cool. All right, finally this week, we're actually going to look at something on Netflix. We had the official teaser drop for the final season of Stranger Things Season 5. So we're going to take a look at that now. Yeah, this is another one where I got to go back, I think, and probably rewatch previous season. I mean, when was that? Like 2 or 3 years ago that thing came out? Yeah. But those episodes, they're pretty long episodes. I'll have to get around to that, though.
3. Come on. 2. And...
It looks pretty epic. Kids also look like they're in their 30s. But, I mean, the show started, I think, in the Obama administration? Does that make sense? One of them's married now, right? 7-Eleven, whatever her name is married now. Loud. Turn it down a little bit. Yeah. This looks epic, though. I mean, there's 8 episodes, hour apiece. Finales, I think I read 2 or 3 hours. I mean, this is like 5 movies. So yeah, it took about 3 years, but you got to cut them some slack. They made 5 movies basically in 3 years.
I need you to fight one last time. Let's end this, kid.
And it looks like those, yeah, the 3 years they spent working on this didn't go to waste. Like, this looks like a big budget movie. Like, all that money is definitely there on the screen. Yeah, that looks awesome. You know, for, yeah, as long as it takes to get one of these seasons out, everybody's going to be watching this. That looks epic. looks like money well spent. And they basically, they made 5 movies over 3 years for this. All right, well, cool. That's a wrap for today's episode of the Weekly Reel. New episodes drop at the end of every week, so you get a quick hit of what's really going on in the real world before heading into your weekend. If you're on YouTube and you like what you saw, then hit that bell below. Or if you're just listening to the pod, then please follow the show. But either way, feel free to drop a review in the comments. We appreciate you listening and have a great weekend.